Hi, it's Nicola Bird here from alittlepeaceofmind.co.uk. For this week's video, I wanted to share with you a conversation I had with a colleague and an insight that came as a result of that. That was such an experience of falling into peacefulness that I just wanted to share it with you. So I was sitting at breakfast with my friend and I was like, let me pick your brains on this. There's this thing, right, that I would love to be able to afford, and it's quite an expensive thing and it's quite a financial commitment, and given that we have no way to predict the future, and given that when I look at my bank account on my phone, my bank account balance, one day I can look at it and it says, oh yeah, you've got plenty, and the next day I can look at it and say, you've got not enough, right? Same number, completely different experience of it. How on earth can I tell whether I can afford this thing or not? I can't tell. What criteria can I use? And then I started going into, well, I know that I'm up at night worrying and thinking about this thing, and is it that I can't afford it? I really, really can't afford it, and I'm just in resistance to that fact, right? Because I know that resistance creates suffering. So is it that I can't afford it and I'm in resistance to that simple fact that you just can't afford it, and the resistance to that fact is causing the suffering? Or is it that I can afford it and I'm just resisting that for some reason, and that's what's creating the suffering? And my friend pointed out to me, like, indecision is just what's happening at the moment, Nick. And in that moment, what I saw, I can't remember the exact words that he used, but what I saw was, oh, I'm just in resistance to indecision. And in that insight, this is what I love about the power of insight. I was like, of course, I'm just in resistance to the fact that I don't know. I don't have a clear knowing. I'm in indecision. The simple answer is I don't know. And in that moment, seeing that that's all that was going on, indecision arising in this moment, the resistance to it, I fell back out of the resistance to it in the seeing of it, and I was left not having my answer, and still in indecision, if you like, but completely at peace. No need to think about it. Like, it literally dissolved out of my head. This problem dissolved out of my head, obviously, because it was only ever made of thought in the first place, but dissolved out of my head, and I was able to get on with my breakfast, still not knowing the answer to the question, but being somehow okay with that. And that's what I'm kind of pointing you to this week, is, and I did this a few weeks ago on a video about the allowed list, but there's just feeling arising. There's just thought arising. And there was a video I was watching the other day with a teacher who was saying, like, God places things on our laps, right? And then we get what we get, right? You've heard that mentioned on many of the podcasts that I've recorded. We get what we get. And I'm not religious, but I understand what that phrase means. And it's like, sometimes we get indecision. Sometimes we get stressful thinking, sometimes we get joyful thinking, sometimes we get a peaceful experience, sometimes we get insight, sometimes we get frustration, sometimes we get confusion. And we go into resistance about some, like for me, indecision about what should I do. It's just a habitual, anxious, I guess, insecure thought that arises for me habitually, just who knows why. And that's the other thing. Right? We try and figure out, so uncertainty is arising right now. Shall I go? Shall I not go? I'm not sure. Shall I do this? Shall I not do that? So uncertainty is arising right now. And we don't know why. Anxiety is arising right now. We don't know why. The search for the why is this happening to me? Why do I have this now? What do I need to do to get rid of this feeling? I don't like indecision. Help me get rid of it so I can be clear, so I don't have to sit in a feeling of indecision. Right? We try and figure out the why am I feeling this way? And I think I've just given up. Whatever is arising in this moment. Something else will arise in the next moment. Something else will arise in the next moment. And what I find is that I've become more at peace with whatever is arising, until I fall for the illusion again, like last week at breakfast, right? We just can't see this enough. We're always falling for the illusion that I'm not happy with this uncomfortable feeling of indecision. I need to get clarity so I can stop wondering. And when that goes, then I'll be at peace. And in fact, that wasn't true. So hopefully this makes sense to you. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll be back with you for another week's video next week.